It's the Harris Football Podcast with your host, Christopher Harris.
Welcome! Hey, everybody. Welcome in. My name is Chris. This is a show that is so silly, but I love doing it. Hello there, you yacht possums. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you're doing well. This little podcast that could is back in absolute full swing. Well, I was going to say full swing. No, it's not true. Not quite full swing. We're doing 2 episodes of the show per week here in July as we ramp back up and then get ready for fantasy draft season in actual full swing in August. That'll be when we're doing 5 episodes per week. I am, of course, hard at work on the Harris Football Player Profile Almanac for 2025, the first edition of which will be released on August 1st, not that far away. If you want to pre-order the Almanac, get ready for the 220 plus player profiles, the film grades, Superflex and Dynasty ranks, which the Almanac is the only place I put those. There'll be research projects. There'll be Cousin Josh Snark. Well, all of that you can pre-order right now at harrisfootball.com. If you have the means, would love to have you do that. And I will tell you that all pre-orderers will be able to come to a live stream with me next week, Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That's for me here in California, 5:30 p.m. I'm excited for that. All pre-orderers, you will get an email with a link. Mark it in the calendar. That's July 15th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Come ask me whatever you like. Ask me about the ranks, about football in general, about writing, about life, whatever you got. And if you'd like to partake in these live streams, just pre-order that almanac at harrisfootball.com. Okay, how about we do one of these?
Time for your snarky email.
'Cause it's just a Harris snark, baby. Might have a sport wedding, daytime lady. Possibly photos of random babies, goo-goo.
There were some photos of random babies, goo-goo, and I love getting them. And please do send them. Hey, Harris at harrisfootball.com. I have a lot of email here. I appreciate how many of you send email to me. Most of it, I would say, is just very nice and photos of babies, which I love. And I always want to tell you, I appreciate that so much. I'm less likely to read the nice stuff on the show. The funny stuff makes for a better listening experience. But again, send emails of all varieties, even if they're nice. Hey, Harris at harrisfootball.com. And you're going to notice that I am definitely catching up on several months of emails. Some of them are from the end of last season that I just couldn't get to in the wind down. Let's start with Nathan Windsor from Parts Unknown. Hey, Harris, I've been a loyal listener since the beginning, always making sure to catch up on the week's episodes before Sunday kickoff until this past week when I slacked and did not listen. Fast forward. Driving to my family's house during the Sunday afternoon slate, I passed not 1 but 2 dead possums on the side of the road. Naturally, it got me thinking, is this rodent cabal you're running weirder than I initially thought? Public ritual self-sacrifice to keep the listenership in line seems beneath you. Here's hoping Barron's aim is just getting better. This show is so stupid. Agreed. A very stupid show. Joe Weber from Missoula, Montana, where I once spent a couple of months many moons ago. I did not yet have a podcast back then. Joe says, hey, Harris, I finally figured out why you persist in your crusade against the tiny-boned, even though the data shows no correlation to injury risk. You are skeletally intolerant. As a large human, you feel superior to those with smaller bones. You're a xenobonic, a vertebraicist, calcibigoted, tiny femur fascist. Sincerely, Joe from Missoula. P.S. This show is so stupid. Kyle Warner from St. Paul, Minnesota, where I guess I've probably been for like one day before. Hey, Harris, on an episode back in December, you mentioned a defensive back seeming as if he were wearing a cloak of invisibility on an interception. And then who comes on for waivers but huge Harry Potter fan, John Daigle. This seems a little too convenient. Was this a peek behind the curtain? Is the jig finally up? Has Chris Harris secretly let slip his undying fandom for the beloved, bespectacled young wizard? The wizarding world demands answers. Mike Kovacs from Central, New Jersey. Hey Harris, I was at a local brewery doing trivia this week with friends. Usually I'm a wide receiver 3 and the Infinite Sadness level trivia player. Then a question was read. What commodity advertised itself as the fabric of our lives in the 1980s? And I almost yelled K. Dotton, but I composed myself and told my team the answer is cotton. Others challenged, but I told them I was 100% confident in this answer, and we got the points. Hopefully this can help my climb from the Infinite Sadness ranks at trivia. This show is so stupid. Aaron Marvin, long-time listener, love Aaron, from Parts Unknown. Hey Harris, I was sure that I had spotted Brooklyn's own Ugly Baby in downtown Seattle yesterday. Imagine my disappointment when instead of tiny tables and Thai food, I found a small craft and sticker shop. How disappointing. And Aaron includes a photo, not of a random baby goo-goo, but of a storefront that does indeed read Ugly Baby, but as we know from Cousin Josh, Ugly Baby has shut down, so this obviously was someone pranking Aaron with an elaborate storefront. Steve Tomaskovich in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, also sometimes goes by Steam. Hey, Harris, I heard you mention Ted Ginn Jr. on Harris After Dark. So this was obviously months ago. I apologize, Steve, or Steam, for taking so long to get to it. He continues, hearing Ted Ginn's name, I couldn't help but think of our old friend Mitch. Any word on whether Ted Ginn continues to hold his family hostage? Oh, the good old days. Dustin Wurzberger in Rutland, Massachusetts. Hey, Harris, day one listener, first-time emailer. Listening to the movie podcast, so obviously I'm making my way into the February emails here, but Dustin says, I couldn't let this go. When Cousin Josh was discussing his number one movie, he mentioned multiple times that he watched this film on a plane flight. I couldn't help but think, is that the quarterback position equivalent in aviation? I can't imagine the listeners would have mistaken his meaning if he'd left out the word flight. Plane flight. I have to remember to mention that to Josh when next he comes on. Mike Buckley from Parts Unknown. Very simple email. A screenshot promoting a concert in upstate New York. And I guess maybe the parts aren't quite so unknown. 3 words accompanying this email. I think you longtime listeners know what those 3 words were about the Killers for a concert for the Killers. Hey, made me laugh. You can email me, heyharris@harrisfootball.com if you think you know the 3 words that Mike wrote in his email. Adam Taylor from Parts even more unknown because there are no context clues in this one. Hey Harris, I was tearing through my garage earlier to find my daughter's favorite book so she can give it to her 3-year-old niece tomorrow when I came across this. Figured you would enjoy the placement. And indeed, we have another photo, not of a random baby goo-goo. It's a photo of a box of books, and there's War on Sound in there, and it is stacked directly against Infinite Jest. I absolutely approve, Adam. Daniel Wade in Seattle, Washington. Hey, Harris, I went to a bar in Menlo Park, California, a fair amount in college, called Dutch Goose. Does Andy Behrens know that this place exists? I loved going there, but did not know that it was named after such a superior goose. Jason Westbrook from Parts Unknown. Hey, Harris, can you confirm the whereabouts of the yacht possum during the Stefan Diggs boat party? I cannot. Speaking of the possum, my friend Michael Forsch, of course, from Las Vegas, Nevada. Hey, Harris, on today's show you mentioned not knowing the yacht possum's whereabouts, so we are obviously now catching up on the email. Michael continues, I'll tell you where. He's been here in Vegas doing a screen test for my TV show, A-List Casting, now available on YouTube. Sorry for the shameless plug. That's right, we needed a show mascot, so we flew him out for the opportunity of a lifetime. Alas, it didn't go well. Our little screen test ended with empty bottles of possum water vodka strewn about, broken cameras, and mild abrasions. Apparently, he just found out that Josh Jacobs doesn't play in Vegas anymore. I assume he's headed your way away with his tail between his legs. Wait, do possums have tails? Glad you're back in the saddle, even if your herniated disc is not. This show is so stupid. Thank you very much, Michael. A-list casting appearing on YouTube. Josh Silber from New York. Hey, Harris. At my son's camp, they have a former NFL player visit each year. I love it when I start laughing before I get to the joke. I asked him who came this year, and he said it was Devin Funchess. I was blown away. The copper miner himself? I don't think my son would get the copper mining joke, but I can confirm Funchess is back from Brazil, digging out the depths of the earth for copper. Was it Brazil? I think it might have been Chile. Truly, this show is so stupid. All right, next up, a confluence of invitations. I got like 4 invitations to things over the course of the spring. Brian Leake from Washington, D.C. Hey, Harris, my daughter is getting married in August, and it's a destination wedding in Australia. Therefore, you're cordially invited to attend, though, of course, all expenses will have to be paid by you for your from your podcast riches. Really looking forward to hanging out with you at the reception, where 24 people who've never heard of you will have to listen to me asking what I should do with Marvin Harrison in my Dynasty League. Brad Kramer from St. Louis. Hey, Harris, this might be getting to you a little bit late, but my son's middle school graduation is coming up, and I'm attaching an invitation. Any gift is welcome, but he particularly has his eye on a glossy photo of you with Minka Kelly, since Minka is now single, and I'm sure as a coastal elite you've already made your move. Troy Jacobs in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Hey, Harris, I'm going to Hawaii to renew my vows with my beautiful wife. Nothing major, just 250 of our closest friends, of which you are one, though we've never actually met. The good news is that you only have to rent a tuxedo for a week, and also the hotel doesn't take pets, so the possum will have to stay elsewhere. Bill Linton in Chicago. Hey, Harris, I am cordially inviting you to attend my annual summer barbecue here in Downers Grove. I'll make sure to have a vegetarian option. I know you might think this is kind of far to come for a barbecue, but our neighbor Gary once saw Refrigerator Perry eat an entire rack of ribs, and he's going to tell that story again, so I know you'll want to be here. Yes, keep those invitations coming. I will certainly be there. The more outlandish, the better. The more minor the event, the more I want an invite from you. And finally, this is the one I've been waiting to come back on the show to read. It's very nice, but the reason I'm reading it is because it's something we can do to help a fellow yacht possum. This is Alex Zader. You'll remember Alex sent us my favorite email probably I've ever gotten on the show that made me cry on the show last year about his daughter Holland, who we all absolutely love. Here's the email. Hey, Harris, wanted to give you and the Yacht Possum family a quick update on Holland. She's been doing extremely well over the last several months. We have her in an ABA therapy class 4 times a week and has really changed her life. She still unfortunately has a ways to go to become fully healthy, but we are really encouraged. We found her an autism specialist pediatrician who actually works for the Jacksonville Jaguars, my footy pajamas team. Yes, I said Jaguars, not Jaguars. Who has had amazing success stories with children like Holland. Seeing her and searching for help for Holland, along with a lot of other unexpected expenses, has made a little tough on us financially. So my wife and her family decided to make a GoFundMe for Holland. And this is the point in the email where Alex makes a point of saying he was not asking me to read this on the show. But too bad, Alex. Too bad. I'm reading it on the show. I have linked to this GoFundMe for our girl Holland. The link is in today's show notes. I'll post it on social media as well. If you have the means to give support, a little bit would go a long way. I know a lot of people listening love Holland and were moved, as I was reading that email last year. We love you, Holland.
Today's kickoff.
Okay, on today's show, our division-by-division previews of NFL training camps will continue. If you missed Tuesday's show, it was a good one. That was Dave Kluge with the AFC East. And today, it'll be Jim McCormick with a preview of the NFC East. I hope you'll have as much fun listening as I did making it. And I thank you again so much for being here today. We are sponsored by ZBiotics, maker of the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. I can't tell you how much I believe in pre-alcohol by ZBiotics. If I have a night coming up where I know I'm going to have a couple of drinks, which I did just this past weekend, one of my oldest friends in the world came to LA, and we may have had a night of guitar and singing and old fashions, and both of us made Z-Biotics our first drink of the night. Why is that? Because pre-alcohol from Z-Biotics was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. How it works. When you drink alcohol, it gets converted to a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough morning. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme that breaks this byproduct down. Make pre-alcohol by Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly and feel your best in the morning. I have recommended Z-Biotics to my mom, to many friends. I am a believer. Give it a try. Go to zbiotics.com/Harris to get 15% off your first order when you use the code Harris at checkout. They have a total satisfaction guarantee. I think you'll be satisfied. I really do. For 15% off, zbiotics.com/Harris and use the code Harris.
Today's guest.
Underscore Baron. His jokes make me smile. Lawsuits he's drafted, never meaning to file.
Lawsuits he's written, never meaning to send. We're going to ask all about the lawsuits because it is Jim McCormick. You can't really find him so much on social media these days, but you can yell into the ether to find about Jim McCormick. And the reason I say that is because Jim himself has been doing a lot of yelling, and therefore we're going to have a husky-voiced Jim McCormick. Hi, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, it's more like a corn husk. I don't know anything. Like
You're husky-voiced.
I'm husky. I am. It's true. But you know what? I'm here.
Not husky. You're perfectly in shape. You're just husky-voiced.
Listen. Because sometimes you have to own who you are. And I'm just a husky guy, and we're going to do this, and we're going to husky it up. Let's do it.
All right. You are a many time recipient of that one particular email that prepared you for this show. I'm sure upon seeing it once again, it was like your feet going in a warm bath. It was like, well, old friend, hello, old email.
Chris tries to prepare me every year for this, and I have to be reminded, let's be honest. It's not about what does Jim think. Okay, it's not about what does Roto-World think. You know what I mean? Because all props to Roto-World. Do you know how many times I've changed my mind based on a blurb? A lot, Chris.
So instead, as the email warns, the goal is to talk about how our opinions might change once we start getting stories out of these training camps, and as Jim mentioned, how things might change based on the blurbs that eventuate, that tempt everybody to change our opinions. So basically, we're trying to find
my hamstring hurts right now. My hamstring is sore, waiting for the hamstrings.
I mean, your voice is what's sore, but we're hanging in. So how are our opinions? Where should they hang fast, and where are we allowed to maybe waver a little depending on the news? We'll start with your world champion Philadelphia Eagles. They're obviously running it back. I don't think we're going to, unless someone gets hurt in camp, we're not going to get a lot of information about the stars, about the quarterback or the running back or the wide receivers. Should we care about Dallas Goedert's training camp? Because, I mean, they told anyone who would listen that they wanted to trade him. And Dallas Goedert's almanac profile is on my mind. Do you remember the episode of Seinfeld where they're trying to get George to leave the job, but they can't fire him, and so they just try to make his work experience as bad as possible? I think that's what the Eagles did with Dallas Goedert, but instead he just took a $5 million pay cut to stick around. If there starts to be negativity around Goedert in training camp, I mean, he already took the pay cut, so I assume he's going to hang around regardless. But could he fall way out of draftable contention for you for fantasy?
So, I mean, they tried everything. You're right. They tried everything. They brought in the ghost of Colts tight ends past, like Kyle Granson. They brought in Harrison Bryant. He's just a very exposable athlete. I don't know a better way to say it. He exposes his body very often, and he goes 100%. That's just NFL, great. No, but he really is a kind of a very violent, big runner, and he's not one of these tight ends who's built very compactly. He's like kind of a basketball type tight end, but he runs inline routes a lot, or does a lot of inline work for Philadelphia. So my point was, I guess, would be that if there's any ding, even a ding, I'd be concerned. And so it's almost like you have to have it's like there's pressure for him to have a perfect training camp in regards to health, which isn't realistic for a 31-year-old tight end. Like, I'm not saying, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, he might not get hit though, right? They're not going to do a lot of hitting.
No, yeah. So I suppose what I mean is that, like, he has had these issues with like tissue injuries and like small injuries mounting. That would concern me a little bit. Like, what I mean by that is that he almost has to be perfect to meet even what you want. Like, but I don't think I think it's pretty sensitive. What I'm trying to say is his draft stock. Like, I'm already a little bit negative on him to begin with, but
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I think it's possible he gets knocked out. With what I'm trying to say is the smallest ding. What I mean by that is it does happen in training camp where he sits out for like 3 weeks with like a knee or a hamstring.
All right. I have Dallas Goedert 14 among tight ends, so it's not like I'm super into drafting
him. 15, so yeah.
Regardless, and so yeah, I mean, but there's I guess what you're saying is that any whiff of negativity, you're wanting to drop him down further. I mean, we're going to be honest here. We're going in order of the teams in which they finish in the division, but the Eagles don't have a lot of drama in their training camp, so I think we're kind of going to mostly come down on the side of let's not change our opinions massively based on things that happen in Eagles training camp. Should we care about the backup running spot? Is there anything that, like, because there's no Kenny Gainwell there anymore. So, I mean, Will Shipley, second-year guy. A.J. Dillon, very, very large guy. There are some running backs where we say, boy, if you draft Bijan Robinson in the first round, I would try to get Tyler Algier. There's a guy that I think could do a reasonable facsimile of the job of the starter. And so it would, that's why handcuffing exists. Not for everybody, but for running backs where we kind of trust the inheritance plan. Could Shipley, Dillon, anyone else have a big enough training camp, in your opinion, to become the guy who in the 12th round you tell Barkley owners, make sure you get that guy?
No, sadly.
Yeah, me neither.
I love that concept,
looking for topics, but say more because Shipley would be the guy.
Right, and Shipley does have all these like very fun concepts, like, oh, he was the number one lacrosse recruit, like, in the country. Well, that's not football. But he did create. He is a good special team player. Like, that's a real ace. I think he's going to stick on rosters. But man, the path to him getting real carries is very tough.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if the number 2 back is not on the roster right now.
Okay. I mean, I'm with you that, boy, I don't need to hear any more about A.J. Dillon in my life. I just don't
quad remix. It's just like, we get it.
Yeah. I don't really believe it. So I guess what we're coming down is not feeling like Eagle training camp contains much that we super need to pay attention to outside of, oh my God, A.J. Brown tore up his knee. I mean, I'm knocking on wood for you, but you're not coming away from Eagle training camp with a lot of actionable messages, which is good. Like, that's kind of what I want from these. I want to say that outright so that people don't have to like worry bandwidth about it. Like, I don't think there's much that's going to change your Devontae Smith rank from between now and the first week of September.
No, if there's one to add, I mean, we're in the season of like breakouts and all these things. So, fringe players, like you're gonna have breakouts with regards to, third receivers or fringe running backs.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna really like. There's not many spike moments for these players who are next to, I don't know, maybe the top 3 skill players in the league.
Oh, baby, how excited am I? How excited is Cousin Josh? We're sponsored again this season by our good friends at Trade Coffee, a way to find the best coffee from local roasters around the U.S. It is summertime. That's cold brew time. Trade now has a cold brew collection, beans roasted specifically to make cold brew at home. Get a cold brew away from home. That's like $6 or $7 or $8. Make it at home. It'll taste better. It'll cost less. This cold brew collection has 15 different roasters who roast beans specifically for cold brew. And at Trade, you can even find expertly curated equipment to help make the best cold brew coffee possible. Trade is a wonderful partner to us. They have been for years. Josh absolutely swears by them, and he is definitely someone whose coffee opinion you can trust. For a limited time, Trade is giving 50% off a month of cold brew. That's like 60 cups of cold brew for 50% off when you go to drinktrade.com/Harris. Hot coffee or cold, try Trade. Discover new coffees you will love. Drinktrade.com/Harris for 50% off 1 month of cold brew. Drinktrade.com/Harris. Okay, we're back with Jimmy, and we're making our way through the teams of the NFC East and talking about what we'll pay attention to in training camp and how our opinions might change once the blather begins. And we're moving on to the rest of the division, the enemy, Jim might consider them, the Washington Commanders being the NFC title game competitor against those Eagles. Jim, I think one that it doesn't involve injury or necessarily like depth chart shenanigans or anything, but one of the biggest stories in football, it seems like, leading into training camp is Terry McLaurin, because he wants a new contract. I said it about James Cook on the show a few days ago. A player entering the last year of his deal doesn't have a lot of leverage except to hold out. I would sort of expect that McLaurin will hold out. So let's hypothesize that we get a holdout out of Terry McLaurin. And where roughly do you have McLaurin rated among receivers ish?
Ooh, pretty high. Like with regards to like him just coming in, he's right in the fringe. I think wide receiver 13 for me.
That's exactly where I have him, 13. It may be like a little lower in a PPR. So high, I agree.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a philosophical question that probably doesn't have a right answer, but let's hypothesize that a holdout comes. Is there a point at which you will, like, is there a date? We did this with James Cook last week, and it's stupid. Like, yeah, Chris, as of August 21st at 3 p.m. is when I'm going to start lowering his rank. Like, it's obviously not going to work that way. But I mean, Brandon Ayuk did this all of last August, held out, started terribly. You know, we have lots of examples from last year. Do you have a sense where a holdout would reach the point where you're saying, all right, dude, you're not wide receiver 13 anymore?
I wish I knew more about like what like the minimum of just integration was. Like, they're not going to tell us that, I suppose. What I mean,
well, if he's not there, if he's not there, you know.
No, what I mean is what's the real runway that you need to be good? Like for example, it's difficult because it's muddy. Like the Ayuk thing, sure, but there's also issues like he wasn't really like he was the number one, but there's a lot of other traffic there, right? Like Christian McCaffrey wasn't hurt yet. I suppose what I'm trying to say was his slow start. Like Ayuk's slow start could maybe be examined with other other reasons.
Okay, we're talking about McLaurin. So,
I know, but what I'm trying to say is that like connecting that slow start to this slow start, to the potential of a slow start might not be the same for me.
Of course.
In the sense that I think is that San Francisco had other options week one that they could pepper right away on first reads and second reads and not need Ayuk to be like up to camp super Ayuk, because that actually was this like embarrassment of riches. I don't think Washington can behave that way. And so that's my guess. Like you're asking. My guess is that
it doesn't happen at all. Your guess is it doesn't happen.
What I mean is even I suppose what I'm saying is I would wait up until like the day and still draft it.
Okay. I'm not sure if I agree, actually. I feel like we got burned by more than just Ayuk last year. The bottom line is it's something that's unquantifiable. We don't know.
Exactly.
We can quantify what we don't know, which is we don't know what kind of shape McLaurin will keep him in if he's holding out, or more likely holding in. Like that's what they do now, right? They'll report, but then they have my hamstring, and they're holding in, but they're not getting fined, and then. So we don't know what kind of shape he'll be in. We don't know what kind of organizational ire there will be for him. And we don't know how much they'll flat out just punish him if he's doesn't participate at all in an entire training camp. Like, again, I'm presuming something that has not happened. That's 2 months away. There's a lot of time for McLaurin to get signed and for this conversation to be null and void. But I will say, if we get to August 20th, August 20-something, and there's no movement at all, and then we get the last-minute reprieve from the executioner. Yep, no, he signed. Like, and sometimes that's what they need. They need the impending week 1, and they sign like that Wednesday before week 1. I think wide receiver 13 is already an aggressive rank for McLaurin, and I felt it when I was doing it. Mostly it was born of I love him as a player, and I can't find other reliable pieces that I'm like, oh, I like that guy so much more, so I'm just going to stick with him. But probably as a tiebreaker, I would start to lower McLaurin a little bit.
So, like, wide receiver 14 might be just as exciting. It probably is. So I suppose there is this idea that, like, hedging your risk could help. My point is, I just think he's going to, like, my confidence is in this idea that this team really needs him.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're like not even really arguing, but we're coming down on something that we can't know the answer to. We can't know. Yeah. But your point is you just don't think it's going to get that far because they need him.
I'm living in La La Land, and you're being a real analyst.
No, I don't think that's true.
No, but she's like, over here, I'm going to get Terry McLaurin. Trust me.
Well, I mean, we have him ranked the same. So if like everything's cool and he's in camp and everything's normal and he's doing drills and he's, running with the ones and stuff like that, probably you and I are aggressive on McLaurin and we're going to be similar. You and I will be getting all the McLaurin. The question is what happens if.
Right. No, I just man, personally, I'm in leagues with you. I'm going to get McLaurin. Thanks.
All right. So as far as Washington's backfield goes, Jaden Daniels, if he's really this good, and at this point we're all rating him as a top 5 fantasy quarterback, so I think we all think he's this good. There's sometimes an idea that running quarterback is bad for fantasy running back, and Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are over there like having brunch and yelling at everybody, saying that's a really stupid argument. In fact, a quarterback who's great at running can also create tons of room for a running back. I would love for that to be true for the Commanders. I would love for somebody to somehow prove themselves in training camp. Maybe that's just flat out not possible. If it's Brian Robinson, if he's just clearly going to be the answer, then it's not possible because that's the same answer as last year. But if we just got someone else who became kind of undeniable in training camp and every beat report was like, wow, Chris Rodriguez, no. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, 6th or 7th round rookie or whatever he was. Like, I don't think there's, unfortunately, a body that can do the thing that should be possible for a running back in that offense. So probably there won't be any like extreme hype for running backs. But if there were, maybe I would pay attention because it should be such a valuable situation.
Man, that's a really good way to say that we're all disappointed. No, seriously, super eloquent. You really went through it all.
And in the end, Brian Robinson is still RB 29 or whatever.
Right, but I swear this is really one of those conflicts I have as a fan because I really do enjoy watching Brian Robinson play when he's in the open field.
Yeah.
But it takes so long for him to get to the open field. It's like a zip car. Like, you have to pull him back, and like as long as the defense agrees to wait until he's got his zip. Like, there really is truly a 2005 vibe to Brian Robinson. Yeah. He is a plotter. He is a hitter. Chris, the number one thing right now, it's already happening, is like they're already talking about expanded passing game, and I think that's the danger. So I suppose my thing would be watch out for the danger of believing that there is a consolidated real role in Washington. So I think the fear wouldn't be that anything could change so much that like that you'd be in love with any of these smaller like fringe players. I think the fear is that you hear this hype and is there really like what I suppose what you're saying is there's not really a threat to Brian Robinson, which is really the threat, right?
That's the problem. Yeah.
Yes. Problem. So that we're gonna in the end, not we as a collective, but we as a royal fantasy community or football community will somehow price up this player because there isn't a threat. And I suppose it's almost like I've already seen this player play football, and he's not gonna identify the gaps that you're mentioning. So I suppose what I would say was I don't think there's a way to get into the Washington running game.
Yeah, I guess the only name we didn't mention is Austin Eckler. And
but I think it's sad, but
yeah,
I suppose what I'm trying to say is he is exactly who he is, and the point is there's not a threat for anybody to consolidate anything so important. And I think
I agree. I mean, the bottom line is I agree. I mean, I'm desperately trying to pull fantasy relevance in a position where almost anybody in the backfield in Washington should be able to rank higher than wide receiver, running back 29. And
right, but sometimes there's value in being like, no, you know what I mean?
That's fair. No, you're right. And so don't whatever hype there might be, whatever they try to muster, maybe don't pay attention to it. All right, let's move on to the Cowboys. I'm not ginning up a lot of excitement to figure out a lot of drama in the Washington backfield, but in Dallas, I mean, let's put it this way, Jim. It's disgusting, but there's a lot of different ways it could go because there's no obvious guy. There's a potentially good running environment. The offense can certainly turn around and be better. We could get a training camp for Dallas where everybody the entire time says, yeah, it's going to be a 3-headed monster. Yeah, it's going to be an 8-headed monster. Yeah, they all look fine. But there's also paths where somebody, Javonte Williams just kind of makes himself known and he's the alpha and everything runs through him and he's playing way more than everybody else. Or one of the two rookies is just simply, they can't get him off the field, yada, yada. My point being that it's something definitely to pay attention to, even if we suspect, you're not getting amazing value out of it. But I'll put it this way. There's a lot of different ways I could imagine my running back ranks in Dallas changing at the end of August.
I mean, I've never been so sensitive to a blurb. This is incredible. I'm ready. I have alerts on. Now, Chris, you don't know what Blue's Clues is, and you shouldn't. Because
I do. No, I know what Blue's Clues is. I do.
You do. So James Blue. So here's my thing. Blue's Clues gives you 3 pieces of evidence every episode. Right? And they say things like, is one of these backs named Miles? Probably not. Does one of these backs sound like a sandwich? I'm not sure. I don't know. And my only answer, because the Blues Clues led us here, is Javonte Williams. I suppose.
No, again, we don't know. I mean, the point of the show is not to come to a conclusion.
No, but that's my point. I just used a litmus test based on a 2002
child's cartoon.
But I don't think I don't think that this rigorous examination I just put through was so much different than how they supply their depth chart. And
I mean that we're setting aside the inherent insanity of what Dallas has done with their backfield. Yes, I mean, the answer is I want to know everything. I want every blurb about the Cowboy backfield. Right. Yeah, I mean, I want to know everything. Jaden Blue is one of the rookies. Phil Maffa's the other rookie. Miles Sanders is there. My God, old Philly buddy Miles Sanders. Javonte Williams is there. It's possible that Emmitt Smith will be there. I'm not sure.
This is the deluge of running backs they have possible on this team. But he's right. What I suppose what I'm saying is, whereas I don't think there's any excitement with the Commanders' backfield because I'm not sure they've even rostered somebody exciting. I guarantee you, I have no idea who is on Dallas, but I guarantee you, I'm going to try to figure out who they are.
Right. We're going to be paying attention. I mean, in the end, the answer probably doesn't wind up amassing more than RB2 numbers at best. It's hard to think, oh, cool, Jaden Blue wound up being the RB4 for the entire, for the league. I don't imagine that will be the case. But yeah, I mean, you and I have to do ranks, and in the middle rounds of drafts, we have to look for value. And yeah, the guy who's going to touch it 200 plus times for the Cowboys is going to be worth rostering because they all are. And then we'll see how the situation works out. If it's Phil Maffa, he seems like a wonderful kid, but my comp for him is LeGarrette Blount in the almanac. And if we get another LeGarrette Blount in the league, I'm not sure my heart can take it.
I mean, I can because his final Instagram post in the NFL was like, "I love all of you except you, Tampa Bay." That was really cool. So that's what I said.
We are sponsored by BetterHelp. Finding someone we can talk to about stress, about what's going on in our lives. Friends and family can be awesome for that. Sometimes I have found for me that it's good to have someone who's detached from the everyday, who can see things from the outside, which is why I do psychotherapy. My therapist is Linda. She's great. Sometimes just having to say what's stressing me out loud helps me put my thoughts together and helps. And therapy can be really great for that. If you've thought about trying therapy, BetterHelp is a good resource to find a therapist. They've served over 5 million people globally. Their app has a 4.9 rating out of 5, and it's easy and convenient. You can find a therapist with a click of a button and change therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with diverse expertise. And my listeners get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Harris. BetterHelp.com/Harris. 10% off your first month. betterhelp.com/Harris. Okay, we're back with Jim, and we are continuing to look at training camp for these miscreant NFC East teams. We talked about the Dallas backfield. Like Brian Schottenheimer's the coach. That in and of itself also, I assume in your household, laughter provoking.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big, big, big Schottenheimer fan. First of all, like Eminem used it in a rap, and I was like, validated. I'm in. Now that was 1998, Jim. I had lower standards, but I suppose I'm still here.
So he's the head coach, and immediately all you hear is they're going to establish it. They're going to run it 80 times a week. That's not the NFL anymore. The NFL's different even from when he was calling plays with Seattle. Like it's a throwing league now. And in fact, Shoddy Jr. called plays in 2023 when Dallas's offense was very good, and then number three in pass yards and number 1 in passing touchdowns. Probably we all are already viewing the passing answers in Dallas as, well, we are. Certainly CeeDee Lamb is a borderline first-round pick or probably a first-round pick. And then George Pickens has a lot of issues, but clearly targeted for the early middle rounds. Like, that's all true. Is there any flexibility? Because Dak isn't going to get drafted as a starter 2 years after he was freaking amazing for fantasy. Is there any, for you, wiggle room on your Dak Prescott rank if the hamstring is just normal? He has a really great camp. There's nothing it's all positive stuff in camp. Does he have any upward mobility? No is a fine answer, but I just wonder.
Yeah, I think there actually is, because I've sadly, secretly always been a Dak guy, kind of. He's
I mean, he's QB 17 on my list. That's
I suppose that's exactly like. So my point is, like, he's in this, like, in the QB, it's super weird this year, where it's from like QB, like, I don't know, 10, it's arbitrary, 11 to like 18. It's like Herbert, Purdy, Love, Dak, all these guys. And like, but Barrow, for example, who's not so different than Dak, to be honest with you, in terms of the potential for yardage and touchdown, but he's like QB 4 or 5 because he's super cute. He really is, and like, and the new QB. He's really cool. I like that guy.
Okay. You can't say that word.
No, I can't say that.
You caught yourself. You caught yourself.
Yeah. That's how blind he is. I really like that guy.
That's how cute he is. Where do you have Prescott ranked among quarterbacks?
I have him QB 11.
Okay. All right. So you just have him higher than I do. So probably for you, training camp positivity isn't going to move him much because you've already kind of got him.
I'm already high on him. So
right.
You're right. I baked it in. Like, but I do think that in the general sense, there is room for wiggle, because you've mentioned, like, you have to produce, like you said, 45 and 35, 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns. But like, we're baking that into so many other guys too. So I don't know why he's not in like the Barrow camp as opposed to like the. I suppose there's this wide range. So
All
I'm
right.
just.
I mean,
because
I mean, again, I don't want to turn this show into the actual debate over the player. I really want to talk about like
I understand. Yeah, what could change?
What could change?
Right. Yeah.
If
and
you want me to,
a perfect training camp, it really could help. It really could.
but not. You don't think for you're going to get him higher than 11 though?
No, but I suppose like maybe I'm evaluating this a little bit. What I'm saying, I could see him like shifting positively. So I'd be in on him right now for sure. Like if you ever had a chance to.
Well, if you have him QB 11, you're going to get him. I think. If you wait and wait, you certainly can.
But I'm emailing myself in weird dynasty leagues where I'm just like, give them to me. So,
so I mean, if you want me to quickly make the negative deck case, before he got hurt last year, he was QB 20. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm an influence. Let's do that part. Let's do it. So.
Yeah. All right. Move on to the Giants, the last team in the division, but the first in all of our hearts, of course. The backfield is interesting. Another backfield, I think it matters. Cam Skattebo is the rookie, and I'm interested to see whether it's like the story is no, he's very clearly running with the twos. Tyrone Tracy is obviously the starter. There is a pecking order, as opposed to, well, everything seems kind of up for grabs. I wouldn't be shocked if it's 55-45 split, and Skattebo is going to get a ton of playing time. These are prospects I don't know anything about. I know a little about Skattebo because he's fun, but I think I care how observers of camp treat those two players.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the Giants, we don't know that, right? We don't really know what do they really think about Tyrone Tracy. I feel like I've seen Tyrone Tracy. I think it's a really, really, really good runner, but I don't know if any team's ever going to trust him to be their guy. Like,
because of ball security.
Ball security, and he takes risk. Like ball security is part of it all, but he takes risks that like lead to ball security, but he also takes like football risks that like he could get the things that are there for him, and he chooses to go outside. A little bit Miles Sanders to me, honestly, sometimes where he thinks his speed can take him to places that it can't. But I'm willing to be very open to this. Like you just mentioned, I'm very open to
Blurbs.
where
we want to see the blurbs.
Yes, let us know and make them fun.
I think you put it really well, which is I feel like it's true maybe of Tyrone Tracy more than almost any of the running back I can think of off the cuff, which is I don't actually know how his team feels about him.
Yeah,
that's how you phrased it. Like, I don't actually know what the Giants think of him. It isn't so much like they drafted another running back, so they must hate him. Nah, I mean, Kenneth Walker is still hanging in there, and they drafted him the running back in the second round the next year. So it's not so much that.
It's
but
not like
there
Skattebo doesn't scream like replacement, does he? Like, so.
I guess if the blurbs say he does, maybe I'll believe it. Like he was a really fun, really physical player. Then again, didn't he have terrible ball security problems in college too? So I don't know if he's the perfect answer for Tracy fumbling.
I've drafted so many running backs based on blurbs. I just want to be honest.
I think this is a good one. I think it certainly begs the question. Begs asking, are we super excited about landing on the correct blurb answer for Cowboy and Giant running backs? Are they definitely going to be worth a lot? But no, we're not talking about because we get a blurb, that means now suddenly they're elevated to round 3, but you got to make a pick in round 7, and I would like to make a good one, and that's, this is where we're headed with these blurbers. Lastly, the Giant passing game. The succession plan that the Patriots had last year, I think it was by week 6, Drake May was starting. Like that felt like right. That felt like cool. Let him get his feet wet. Let the veterans start for a little while. But can we please get on with the future? The problem I worry about, I don't know that much. I mean, Jackson Dart didn't go number 3 in the draft, and a lot of people didn't think he should have been a first rounder. So maybe it's never going to happen. I'll just say that if there was momentum towards Dart being pretty terrific, and maybe he's not going to start right away, but folks suspect that maybe in October he will, boy, I would just be more interested in this offense in general, because the Russell Wilson experience, I've just had enough of it.
I'm not very excited about a Giants offense in general, but I will say that, like, yeah, we saw the Russell Wilson experience in Pittsburgh. It obviously did not incite any entertainment. The Dart thing is about he's like a back throw champion, like a back foot throw champion, rather. He will really drive the ball. He'll just see it and throw it. And I suppose that's better than like not throwing it at all. And there is a world where, like, we're mentioning like team motivations, and I suppose like a lot of this whole, like, how do you read the training camp intel? Wouldn't this be one of the more like kind of motivated teams to like you mentioned, get Jackson Dart not really looking good for their own marketing purposes, but like to be ready to play football, because the only way that regime stays in place is if he plays well. But more importantly, Russell Wilson isn't good. So you mentioned week 6, like there is going to be a transition to where Jackson Dart comes in.
Maybe. I mean, if he stinks, if he's not ready, there's people who don't think he was a first-round pick.
And they have layers, I suppose, is the problem too, like with Winston and all these weird things. So,
right, there's another alternative. If even if Wilson's spitting the bit, if Dart's not ready, they'll just go to Winston. Yeah, it's a mess. I guess.
How do you handle Neighbors? I'm sorry to cut you off, but
I mean, I don't imagine we got a pretty great season on Malik Neighbors with Daniel Jones throwing to him last year. Like I can't imagine a world where this conversation affects Neighbors. But if we're wanting the rising tide to lift all boats, if we're wanting to say we're more excited about the running backs now, we're finding a way to get Wan'Dale Robinson in the last round because we believe in a high volume, yada yada yada. If we're looking for the environment to be better,
I get it, like a target offense, right?
Right. If we're looking for the offense to be better, the best story would be, wow, the doubters are wrong about Dart, and wow, he's really blown people away, and it's pretty obvious that he's going to take over at some point pretty early in the season. I think that would move the needle a little bit for me. If it's, he's pretty much the third stringer, he needs a year to sit. Again, I don't think it affects Neighbors really, but I think, I
think I was underrating is just how incredibly impressionable I am. I'm really impressionable. Like, if you have really cool looking hair and you do cool stuff, I'm in. Like, no,
plus the blurbs, plus all those blurbs.
Jokes aside, and not to come around I think I want to pretend that I'm not as like mentally malleable within blurb season. And I think the whole goal of this thing is to prepare you for blurb season, because the winds are going to be strong sometimes. You're going to get an alert in your phone that says, like, Jackson Dart looks good.
Right.
And his hair is blowing and it's going to look good. Trust me. It's going to look good. No, I'm telling you, it's going to look good. You're going to see this
I wasn't aware of Jackson Dart's hair being a huge factor here.
Well, what? Wait, what?
I really wasn't. I was not aware.
You have a real life, and you have to come back to us. Okay?
I'm very sheltered from the hair.
Andy Barons already has a dog lined up for his hair, I'm sure. So, I don't know what it is, but it's some sort of like show dog, and it's probably beautiful.
All right. Well, I think, paying attention to the Cowboy backfield, pay attention to the Giant backfield, see if Terry McLaurin sits. I think those are the things we came out of this feeling like these are big time things to pay attention to. Of course, in all cases, and I'm going to say this throughout July as we do these shows, negative stories matter. So like if guys are hurt or guys, just can't get on the field or look terrible or whatever, of course that does change. All right. Well, I feel like we've made some good progress here on these particular teams. I thank you very much for indulging my specific mania of not wanting to talk about the actual players themselves. Thank you for that. You can find Jim all over social media. I'm not sure right now. He's busy yelling at lawyers and or children at summer camps to reply.
Somehow,
Go
ahead.
You're gonna see him around this fall. Thanks for doing it, Jim. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it. You could probably tell Jimmy was really playing hurt. His voice is a mess. We caught him on a really bad day. I love the guy. I really appreciate him toughing it out for us. And I thank you so much for listening today. Let me also thank today's sponsors. Just to remind you, we had Z-Biotics, we had Trade Coffee, and we had BetterHelp. If you are interested in anything I had to say about those sponsors, you know that using the codes really helps. Hopefully it gets you a quality product or service, and then also helps let them know that advertising worked, and hopefully they'll keep coming back. And those are sponsors that have kept coming back, so I thank you so much for continuing to support them. I had a lot of fun today. Thanks again so much for listening. Let me remind you that you can pre-order the Harris Football Player Profile Almanac for 2025 right now, if you so choose, at harrisfootball.com. I am just about done with writing the profiles, and now it's a matter of getting them presentable in a form that you will enjoy reading and seeing. I am very proud of how the almanac is turning out. It's also a joke delivery mechanism, and I think there's some stuff in there that will make you laugh, and also some good football stuff as well. You can pre-order at harrisfootball.com, and pre-orders, you'll be able to come to live stream with me 8:30 p.m. Eastern, coming up this Tuesday, July 15th. And, of course, earlier that same day, we'll have another episode of this very stupid little podcast that could. We'll be previewing training camps for the teams of the AFC North, and my guest will be the great Matt Harmon from Yahoo and Reception Perception. So I'm very much looking forward to that as well. Until then, thanks again so much for listening. Your hat is awesome. You're awesome for wearing it. I will talk to you on Tuesday.
The Harris Football Podcast's opening theme is Under the Gun by Apex Manor. The closing theme is Say Yes by The Wellspring. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and never miss an episode.